here today. And I also welcome the devotees who have joined online. Thank you for taking out time to come to this satsang program. We are meeting here after, at least I am meeting after a very long time, almost a 1.5 months break, because I have also been traveling and doing, training. I've been doing some training work for some clients. So somehow I've been busy with that. But I'm very happy to be back with all of you here today. And we've been discussing. If you recall, I mean, for those of you who don't have the full context, we have been discussing from the third canto, second chapter, and third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And while we were going very fast prior to this, but when we came to this part, this is a portion where uh, Vidura, Vidura, who is expelled from the kingdom of Hastinapur with only his breath, so to say. Then he goes to various holy places, and on the banks of the Yamuna, he meets, with Uddhava. Uddhava, who was one of the very intimate associates of Lord Krishna. He meets with him and he asks him about, that tell me about, the Lord. And actually, Vidura has already heard by that time that the Lord Krishna has left, this material world. And but still he asks, tell me. And Uddhava, in response, he doesn't come to the point of the Lord leaving. He starts from the childhood pastimes of Krishna, from his appearance in this world. He starts talking from there and goes through the whole, like a summary of Krishna's pastimes, which comes in the chapter 2 and first few verses of chapter 3 as well. And therefore, we were going very slow. We were going one verse at a time, taking one pastime. And today, again, we will pick up little speed. Because now, after this whole discussion is over, we come to the point. Last, if any of you remember, the last topic that we had discussed was. No, the last topic that we discussed was
Vinachaya Dishkutam.
Somebody from online said, who was that?
Me, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Vinachaya Dushkritam. That was the pastime that we discussed last time, where we talked about how Krishna, through various means, he reduced the burden on the earth of, of demoniac people. So Prabhupada goes to great lengths to explain that the burden on the earth is not the population. Sometimes we may feel that Mother Earth is burdened by the population on the earth. Therefore, Krishna came to reduce the population. No. Mother Earth she has no problem whatsoever with any number of people. Prabhupada gives very nice, scientifically explains that it is not that, if the number of human beings increase, they will all die of starvation. No. The earth can produce enough for everyone. There is enough. And even if all the population of all the animals and all the birds and all the insects and everything keeps increasing also, Mother Nature will never run out. ऐसा नहीं है सब खत्म हो गया अरे अभी क्या करूं ऐसा नहीं है it is unlimited so what is the burden then what is the burden on Mother Earth so the burden on Mother Earth is to carry people who are demoniac and atheistic. That is a burden for her. For her, she finds that very burdensome. So Krishna comes and reduces the burden on the earth. And last time when we stopped, we spoke about the end of the Kurukshetra war. In that war, so many people, demoniac, and so many, people who are not on the path of dharma were all killed. And after all of this has happened, the last verse number 13, we saw that Krishna, he sees Duryodhana lying on the battlefield. Now, Duryodhana is a very powerful warrior, and he's lying on the battlefield with his leg smashed and bleeding and dying. And Krishna, when he sees him, he feels very sorry for him. It's not that the Lord is saying, "Acha serves you right." No, The Lord is very merciful. He can't see his own child. Like, Krishna says in the Gita that Krishna says in the Gita that Tasam Brahma Mahad Yonir Aham Bij Pradapita. He says that I am the seed giving father of all living entities. So therefore, any living entity, whether they are envious of the Lord or they are very favorable towards him, if they are suffering, the Lord doesn't like to see. So this happened. And then in verse 14, okay, so let us just read the verse number 14. 3.3.14, okay? Yeah. So in the verse number 14, at the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Akshonis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty, born of myself, which may be a more unbearable burden. Then he says in verse 15, when they quarrel amongst themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking, then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. So, this particular section from verse 14 onwards, going up to 4th chapter, 23rd verse, is talking about this pastime. It's called Mausalya Leela of Krishna, which is his disappearance pastime. So how he disappeared, how he decided, how did that happen? That the Supreme Lord leaves this earth. So Krishna says in the Gita 4.9, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyatva deham punar janma naiti mam etisu Arjuna. So he says that my birth and activities are transcendental, and one who understands this in essence does not take birth again upon leaving this body, right? So this is what Krishna is saying. So while his birth and activities are transcendental, is his passing also transcendental or it is normal? Everything about the Supreme Lord is transcendental. It is not something ordinary, not like us. When we die, we die. But when the Lord dies, it's called his disappearance. And when he comes, it's called his appearance. So the Lord doesn't take birth, he doesn't die. We take birth, we age, we fall, ill, and we die. The Lord does not. The Lord disappears. So today, our topic for discussion is the disappearance pastime of Krishna. So here in these two verses, what is being discussed is Uddhava is saying that after the battle was over, that apparently the purpose of reducing the burden on the earth seems to have been completed by the Lord. But the Lord is saying, but what is this? That my own family members, the Yadus, who are, the Narayani Sena, who are practically unconquerable, they cannot be killed by anyone. They're just too powerful. And, it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam itself that these associates of Krishna, who were in Dwarka with him, the first in Mathura and then in Dwarka with him, they were not ordinary people. They were incarnations of the demigods. Various demigods had actually incarnated along with Krishna so that they can assist in his pastimes. So Krishna knows that these persons, first of all, they are so powerful. If I leave, they will go crazy in separation and they will cause destruction. So he says that better that first let them go. Let them go, then I will go. Like that. So everything after that, unfolds in a particular way. It's very interesting. Mahabharata gives a description of what happened. So after the war is over, then The Pandavas go to meet with Kunti and sorry, not they go to meet with Gandhari and Dhritarashtra. After having killed someone's 100 sons, going to meet them itself can be a little terrorizing. It's quite scary. So first Krishna, Yudhishthira says, Krishna first you go. पहले आप जाओ. थोड़ा गर्मी कम हो जाए फिर मैं आता हूँ. So Krishna goes and he talks to Dhritarashtra and Gandhari and he preaches to them. Very lovingly, very patiently, he preaches to them. He tells them, and see what has happened. We all tried our best to, avoid this, but somehow your son Duryodhana was not willing to cooperate, and that's why all this happened. So don't take out whatever your anger is there. Don't curse Yudhishthira. He is Dharmaraj. He is not to be blamed for this. Please don't. It's okay. And then Yudhishthira comes. So the story goes that Yudhishthira came, and when Bhima came, Bhima, when he came in front of Dhritarashtra, Bhima had killed all the sons. Arjuna had killed everyone else, but all the sons of Dhritarashtra were killed by Bhima single-handedly. Arjuna had many opportunities to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, but he used to be like, sorry, मैं तुमको मार सकता हूँ लेकिन मैं नहीं मारूंगा. It's all there in Mahabharata. Mahabharata में very clear था. Arjuna says कि नहीं, I will not kill you. उनको पूरा मतलब कंगाल करके छोड़ देता है and he leaves them. जाओ, go, because this is my brother's job, not my job. So Bhima has single-handedly killed all the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra. So you imagine how much hatred Dhritarashtra must be having for Bhima, right? So when they come in front of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, at that time, Krishna tells Bhima that too much jaage. First, let's put a putla. So they put a iron ka putla in front of, Bhima's body is also like vajra. It's like very like iron only. So they put that putla in front of Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra says, "Come, my son, come." And he so strongly squeezes that putla that putla breaks into pieces. मेटल का रहता है फिर भी उसका टुकड़ा टुकड़ा हो जाता है. इतना एंगर, इतना पावर से वो उसको ये करते हैं. And and then Yudhishthira also gets some treatment. Yudhishthira, when he comes in front of Gandhari, Gandhari, she is a yogini. She is a yogi. She's not an ordinary lady, right? She's counted amongst the 7 chaste women. She's glorified as a very chaste woman who never gave up on her husband. Though her husband was worthy giving up, she never gave up. She always kept trying. So because of her yogic strength, what she did was when Yudhishthira came in front of her, she could have burnt him alive, with her eyes if she just opened her patti. But because Krishna had already warned, I had already, told her that don't take it out of Yudhishthira, please. So she just slightly lifted the patta and she looked at his feet, and his toes got burned. Right? So they got singed. So even Yudhishthira got some treatment. Bhima also got some treatment. And then finally, Gandhari, in her very emotional state, right? She's a woman ultimately. Any woman, if they lose one child also, how much pain they feel because they have born that child in their womb. So if they lose 100 sons, how much pain, how much anger must be there in her heart. So she, in her emotional state, she curses Krishna. Gandhari curses whom? The Supreme Lord. She says, you could have prevented this slaughter, O Madhava, but since you deliberately allowed this universal destruction, now you should also feel the consequences. आपने allow किया है इसको. बोलते by whatever little merit that I have acquired by serving my husband, I curse you, O Chakrapani, holder of the discus. Says, since you allowed the Kurus and Pandavas to kill each other, so you will also be the destroyer of your own kinsmen. You will be the cause of destruction. You will kill each other. All of you, Yadus will kill each other. And she says, oh Govinda, on the 36th year from now, 36 years from today, you will kill all your family members in a fratricidal fight. Finally dying yourself also by foul means. Aapka bhi disappearance will not be a very nice thing. and the ladies of your family will just weep, even as the Kuru ladies are weeping now. जैसे हमारे Kuru ladies are weeping, your Yadu women will also weep. ऐसा कर्ज करती है. Now Krishna is the supreme Lord. Very easy for him to say, you laugh, you can laugh at her. अरे जाओ यार, तुम क्या मुझे कर्ज करोगे? But no, Krishna, he very graciously he accepts the curse of Gandhari. Why? Because he has already decided. Before this we discussed. Already decided कि यदुस का तो काम खत्म करना है. So see how the words come out of her mouth also, which are exactly suited to the purpose of the Supreme Lord. The Lord wanted this, and she said this only. Now, what is also interesting is she said 36 years from now. She did not say now, that you will have a fratricidal war now, and all of you will, die. She didn't say that. She said 36 years from now. So interesting thing is that even the duration which she gives, 36 years, is a long time. 36 years में कितना समय है सोचो, right? If you count 36 years from now, that is 1986. Some of us were not, some of you were not born at that time. Some of us were young men at that time or teenagers at that time, right? 36 years is a long time. So why she said 36 years? There's no answer. There's no answer for it. But this is also the arrangement of the Lord, because the Lord did all this. इतना सब मेहनत क्यों किया? इतना सब मेहनत इसलिए किया so that dharma could be established again, right? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati, right? Whenever there is glani in dharma, that is when the Lord comes and tries to re-establish dharma. Now dharma has been re-established. So Krishna also wants to enjoy that. He also wants to see that there is dharma on the planet. And everybody is following dharma. So the words that came out of her mouth is 36 years. So for 36 years, after this event, okay, Yudhishthir Maharaj, he continued to rule the world. The whole earth planet was under the dominion of Yudhishthir. And under the rule of Yudhishthir, there was dharma which was very clearly established. All the people on the earth were following the path of Sanatana Dharma. And it is described that Yudhishthir, he performed 3 Ashwamedh Yajnas also, in that period. And Krishna also, he was living in Dwarka at that time, fully as per the norms of society. When he was living there, he was called Dwarkadhish. Krishna never took the role of a king. Never at any point he took the role of a king. He maintained that Ugrasen, you be the king. I can't be the king. And he kept Ugrasen as a king. But he was known as Dwarkadhish. Now, when he was in Dwarka, he lived like a normal person, following all rules of society to set an example. So there are descriptions given in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto. What was Krishna's day-to-day, dincharya, as they say. There is a whole description given of what is Krishna's dincharya, what are the things that he used to do during the daytime, all that is described. So now, after, 36 years are, almost over, not so many, still some years are left, 1 or 2 years are left. A particular incident happens. Okay, what is that incident? In Dwarka, one time various sages visited Dwarka. So who are those sages? It is described Vyasdev was there, Vishwamitra was there, Narada was there, many sages were there, great sages. So they all visited Dwarka and they performed a yajna there along with the Yadus. For what? For the benefit of people of Kali Yuga, which is going to come. They performed a yajna. For a long time there will be benefits of this. So they performed that yajna. And after the yajna was over, they were moving out. They had gone to a place called Pindaraka near Dwarka. And they were like there. So at that time, the Yadu boys, the sons and grandsons of Krishna, the young ones, they came to that spot at Pindaraka, and in a playful mood, one of the sons of Krishna, his name was Samba, right? So they dressed Samba, was was dark. His color was also like Krishna. He was Krishna Varna. So they dressed him up as a young girl. उसका पूरा वेशभूषा करके उसको ये क्या बोलते हैं उसको पल्लू वगैरह लेके सब कुछ करके they made him look like a girl and like a pregnant girl, like a pregnant woman. पेट के अंदर कुछ डाल के they brought him before these sages and in a joking way में उन्होंने पूछा, oh sadhus, tell us this fortunate lady, will she have a boy or she'll have a girl? मतलब एक तरह से वो लोग क्या कर रहे थे, वो लोग मजाक उड़ा रहे थे, मेकिंग ट्राइंग टू मेक फन ऑफ दिस साधुस कि देखते क्या बोलते हैं, राइट? A lot of people who do this, they enjoy making fun of sadhus. This is the nature of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga में people like to make fun of devotees. They not make fun of people who are doing wrong things. They'll make fun of people who are doing right things. जो सही काम कर रहे हैं ना, उसी का मजाक उड़ाया जाता है. क्या तू तो बड़ा साधु है, अच्छा बेटा 100 चूहे खा के बिल्ली हज को चली, ये सब मतलब they make fun of in so many different ways. So here also these boys trying to make fun of these sadhus, they said that हाँ बताओ बताओ लड़की होएगी क्या लड़का होएगा? So the sadhus, this guy Narad Muni was also there. Narad Muni, Narad Muni is there in practically every chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. He has such a pivotal role, throughout the whole Bhagavatam. And Narad Muni, he curses those boys. He tells, I mean, it's not like Narad Muni, but the sages curse the boy saying that you fools, this girl will give birth to a club. Club means Gada. She'll give birth to an iron club, which will be the cause of destruction of your entire Yadu dynasty. So when they say, you can imagine, ना बच्चों के मुंह से रंग उतर गया. मतलब वो लोग ऐसे मजाक में कुछ बोल रहे थे, and this became suddenly very serious. That the sages cursed them that she will give birth to a club, iron club, which will be the cause of destruction. And they are so fearful, they remove the clothes, so clothes to Dama, and when they remove, they see there is actually an iron club there. आयन का गदा दिखता है उनको, वो तो कांपने लगते डर से, and they go back to Dwarka, and it is described that they were so fearful and so ashamed at the same time for the stupidity that they had done. They realized they had done something very stupid, right? बच्चे लोग कभी-कभी कुछ शैतानी में कुछ कर देते हैं, and फिर उनको बाद में समझता है कि क्या किया मैंने, what a बेवकूफ activity I have done, right? So they realized. Now they were afraid to go to Krishna because Krishna will, they don't know how Krishna will chastise. So they go to the grandfather, they go to Ugrasen, and they go to Ugrasen and say that, "Arey, हमसे ये गलती हो गया, ये हो गया, and we cursed, and this gada manifested out of Samba's, ये body, and now what to do?" So Ugrasen says, "Don't worry, मैं कुछ करता हूँ." And Ugrasen, he gets that mace, वो जो गदा है, उसको क्रश करवाता है, चूर करके मार के उसको चूर powder, fine powder, he gets it made, and he personally doesn't leave it to anybody else. किसी पे होता है ना, अगर important काम खुद करना चाहिए, because this is about the destruction of the whole dynasty, so he is also concerned. So he goes and he personally throws that whole dust of the gada, iron gada, into the ocean. खाली एक piece रह जाता है जो powder नहीं हो रहा है. One piece remains, and everything else is powdered, and he throws it into the ocean. And he comes back, शराबी हो गया. He is feeling relieved. But what happens is that iron powder, by the tide of the ocean, they say in Dwarka, that powder, it comes onto the shore, onto the shore of the ocean, and there is some cane that is growing, cane, wo jo sugar cane ya bamboo cane type ka cane is growing, so that powder, it grows into that cane, and that small lump that was remaining, that lump is swallowed by a fish. Okay. So अभी यहाँ पे इधर छोड़ता हूँ इसको, we'll come back to this point again, okay? So this is what happens, right? And the Yadus don't know. Nobody knows. Only Ugrasen knows, and those boys know that ऐसा ऐसा हुआ है. Obviously, Krishna knows because he is the supreme lord. He knows everything, right? He knows what's going to happen, and it is all happening by his design only, by his plan. Everything is one by one. पहला गांधारी ने कर्ज किया, फिर so even this boy, so the lesson that Prabhupada speaks, he says that even these boys now, just prior to this, the Yadus have called these sages to their home, and they have very, very respectfully offered them charity, worshipped their lotus feet, and very nicely, taken care of them. And then suddenly they became disrespectful. ऐसा हो सकता है, right? It's not logical. It doesn't fit in. But it happened like that. So everything is happening by Krishna's plan. And Prabhupada makes a very important point here. He says that even if you are the son of Krishna, even if you are so intimately connected with the Supreme Lord, you are the son of Krishna, if you go and offend a devotee of the Lord, go and offend a sadhu, go and offend a Vaishnava, nobody can save you. Not even Krishna. He will not save you. जो गलती किया उसका भुगतो अभी, right? So like that. So very powerful point. Therefore, we have to be so careful. In our lives, sometimes we tend to take people for granted. We tend to take devotees for granted. We tend to make mistakes, but we should not do that. When we come into, हम लोग एक तो भक्ति में आते इतने कठिनाई से, बहुत मेहनत करना पड़ता है यहाँ पे भक्ति में आने के लिए, किसी को लाने के लिए कितना मेहनत करना पड़ता है. Just to bring someone to this program. ये प्रोग्राम है सत्संग में आओ बोलो तो मतलब नहीं, वो मेरा आज कुछ और प्रोग्राम था, ये था, वो था, हम लोग का बहुत कुछ रहता है. Everyone becomes very busy the moment you tell them there is a program. They become very busy. एकदम उनको बहुत काम निकल के आते हैं. नहीं प्रभु जी मैं आऊंगी, नेक्स्ट टाइम आई विल श्योरली बी देयर, बट आज नहीं हो पाएगा, एंड नेक्स्ट टाइम वो आता ही नहीं. तो इतने कठिनाई से हम लोग भक्ति में आते हैं. सो डिफिकल्ट. इट्स नॉट दैट हम लोग ऐसा ढूंढते हुए अरे कहाँ है ये, कुछ हरे कृष्णा का कुछ सुनाई दे रहा है, कुछ कीर्तन, आई मस्ट गो देयर इमीडिएटली. अरे कोई घसीट के लेके आया हम लोग को इधर, है कि नहीं? तो खुद से एकदम मतलब प्रेम से भगवान, मुझे भगवत प्रेम चाहिए, कहाँ मिलेगा भगवत प्रेम, ऐसे ढूंढते हुए तो नहीं आए थे. With great difficulty we have come here. With great reluctance we have become regular here. Very reluctant. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि हाँ बहुत अच्छा लगा प्रभु जी, नेक्स्ट टाइम 100% नेक्स्ट टाइम आएंगे, ऐसा हम लोग सिर्फ डायलॉग मारते हैं, नेक्स्ट टाइम आते नहीं है फिर, है कि नहीं? दिस इज व्हाट. और ऐसा नहीं मैं आप लोग को, मेरा भी जर्नी ऐसा ही था, सबका ऐसा ही जर्नी है, सेम जर्नी. वी टेक लॉन्ग टाइम टू बिकम डिवोटीज, राइट? देन आफ्टर बिकमिंग डिवोटी, इफ वी ऑफेंड द वैष्णव, सारी मेहनत पे आपने पानी फेर दिया. So this is a very important lesson for us to learn, that do not offend the devotees of the Lord. Don't say anything that could potentially offend them. So now some more time passes. The 36 years are about to get over, and Krishna, suddenly sees a lot of inauspicious, the Yadus who are living in the Dwarkavasis. Suddenly they see a lot of inauspicious signs in the sky. बहुत सारा उनको दिखने लगता है, omens, inauspicious omens they start seeing. And when they see these omens, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Are you able to hear me, online devotees?
Prabhuji, your bandwidth is low.
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, here, able to hear.
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, that was it. Bad omens. He sees, a lot of bad omens. And then Krishna, he reminds the Yadus, remember वो curse था गांधारी का, देखो सब bad omens दिख रहे हैं, तो मुझे तो लगता है हमको अभी द्वारका से निकल जाना चाहिए. Right? We should leave Dwarka and we should go to Prabhas Kshetra. Prabhas Tirtha. Prabhas Kshetra is actually a Tirtha, counted as one of the holy places. So let us all go to Prabhas. So he tells all the Yadus, सबको जमा करते हैं, बोलते चलो, let's go to Prabhas. and he says that we'll go there, we'll take bath in Prabhas Tirtha, we will give lot of charity, and the old men and women, and the ladies and the children, they can go to Shankodhara, and we will go to Prabhas. So what happens is when he gives this instruction, okay, uh, when he gives this instruction, Uddhava, this is flashback, right? Now Uddhava is in Dwarka. While he is in Dwarka, he hears Krishna giving these instructions. So Uddhava now understands, looks like the Lord is going to complete his pastimes on this earth. It looks like अभी इसके आगे कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. So he becomes very morose. He becomes very worried. So he goes to the Lord and he tells Krishna that my Lord, looks like you have a plan to end your pastimes on this earth. तो मुझसे ये दृश्य देखा नहीं जाएगा. I don't want to have to see this horrible sight of you leaving this world, my Lord. So then Krishna advises him. So they've all gone to Prabhas. So Krishna meets him in a little lonely place, and he tells Uddhava that you should take sannyas. अभी तुम sannyas ले लो, and you go to Badrikashram. In Badrikashram, you will meet Naranarayan Rishi, and you take their association, and you will be satisfied. Even in my absence, you will be satisfied. At that point, Krishna speaks to him what is known as the Uddhava Gita. So we have heard of Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken to Arjuna. So same way, this Uddhava Gita is spoken to Uddhava, and it is mentioned in the whole of the 11th canto. See, we are right now in which canto? We are in the 3rd canto. So in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, after Krishna Leela, whole 10th canto is full Krishna Leela. After the 90 chapters of Krishna Leela are over, the 11th canto is this disappearance pastime of Krishna is again mentioned, and the Uddhava Gita is mentioned. So Uddhava Gita is mentioned. And Uddhava Gita is again, it is I think around 15 chapters, okay, but it is way more detailed than some of the things that Krishna told Arjuna. Uddhava Gita has got lot more stories, lot more details, very powerful. So he speaks this whole Uddhava Gita in the presence of Maitreya Muni. So Maitreya is a Jnani. He's not exactly a devotee of the Lord, but he was a disciple of Parashar Muni. Parashar was the father of Vyasadeva, father and guru of Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva and Maitreya Muni are like God brothers. They're like alumni of the same college. So both were disciples of Parashar Muni. So Maitreya Muni, by his connection to Vyasadeva, he has touch of devotion, but he is not devotee in that sense. But he just happens to be there at that time when Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. So Uddhava is sitting there, Maitreya is sitting there, and Uddhava speaks to Krishna, and Krishna then tells him the whole Uddhava Gita. So he addresses Uddhava, not Maitreya. But Maitreya is also there. He's also listening to whatever Krishna has told. So after this is over, the Yadus, right? The Yadus, they have all come to Prabhas Kshetra. In Prabhas Kshetra, so it is described that there was a division even which Yadus came to Prabhas Kshetra and which ones remained in Dwarka. So not all of them came to Prabhas Kshetra. The Yadus were of two types. One was those who were incarnations of demigods, like I said. They were incarnations of demigods who had come down only to assist Krishna in his pastimes. So पहले उनको निकालने का काम था, right? So Krishna said that these people come to Prabhas Kshetra. So these Yadus, they came to Prabhas Kshetra, Over there also, first what did they did, as Krishna had told them, they did, charity, they gave, they took bath, they did all nice things. सब अच्छा अच्छा किया. वहाँ के जो ब्राह्मण थे उनको बहुत सारा चैरिटी दिया. They heard from them nicely. उनको प्रसाद, they offered the bhoga to them and they, made prasad and offered it to them. And their remnants they ate. मतलब उनका महाप्रसाद उन्होंने खाया. ये सब होने के बाद they also had a drink, an intoxicating drink made of rice, fermented rice, as it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. They had a drink made of fermented rice. Now, when they had this drink, they got intoxicated in no time. Okay, so they got so badly intoxicated, and in their intoxication, they started talking harsh words to each other. So the Yadus, they started saying harsh things to each other. And, of course, doesn't require a genius to know that even in today's day and age, this happens, right? I've seen a lot because I was in the sales profession. I'm still there in sales profession. So sales profession में तो मतलब वो sales वालों की शान है कि चल यार हो जाए, and every day, रोज कुछ ना कुछ वो लोग का they have some, program, कुछ आज program बनाते हैं, right? So all of them are like that. And I have seen people who are very nice, very, क्या बोलते हैं, very docile, very, very cultured, nice people. When they drink, वो भी free का मिला. अगर खुद के पैसे से ले रहे तो थोड़ा कंट्रोल में रहते हैं, लेकिन अगर किसी और से मिल रहा है फ्री में, कंपनी भर रही है, देखो बिजर, राइट? इन पार्टीज वी हैव सीन, आई एम श्योर ऑल ऑफ यू हैव सीन दिस. पार्टीज में वो पी के ये करके दे मेक अ सीन, they start shouting, they start yelling, they start calling names to people. अपने फ्रेंड्स को वो लोग सुनाते हैं, अपने बॉसेस को सुनाते हैं. अरे तू क्या समझता है अपने आप को? I've seen all this in my own eyes. That perfectly normal good people, just by the influence of alcohol, how they become like fools. They become like a, क्या बोलते हैं? They become an embarrassment to themselves, forget to others. दूसरों को तो embarrass करते ही हैं. I've seen people urinating after drinking in public, so much out of control. So it's crazy. What happens when you drink is crazy. We feel we are in control, but we are not, right? So Prabhupada makes this point here also that, understand that what happens when someone engages in intoxication. It completely destroys any discrimination that somebody can. Everyone feels कि नहीं, control में, मेरे को मालूम है. I know when to stop. मैं कभी भी छोड़ सकता है. Especially smokers. You catch a smoker and tell him कि भाई अरे छोड़ दे यार, क्या कर रहा है? बाकी, this is not good for you. अरे मैं ना कभी भी छोड़ सकता. Full control में, मेरे को मालूम है. कभी भी अगर कल छोड़ना है छोड़ सकता. तो फिर छोड़ना. ना अभी टाइम नहीं आया, जब तक छोड़ देगा. And they never give up. जिंदगी भर नहीं छोड़ना, right? Because this is how it is. It's like वो लत है वो. So anyway. So when these Yadus, they got intoxicated, they lost their intelligence and they started fighting. They started calling each other bad names. They started calling each other ill names. And while in that process of calling ill names to each other, they started fighting. They removed their weapons and they started, beating each other with the weapons. After the weapons got over, they were at Prabhashitra. In a Tirtha Dham, they were there. When the weapons got over, they picked up canes. The canes that were there in that place. What was there in that canes? The powder, the iron powder of that metal mace. That powder had gone into the cane, and those canes became iron rods in their hands. And with those iron rods, they started, beating each other. They started killing each other with those rods. They were so intoxicated, all of them, that they lost all discrimination. They started killing each other. So Krishna and Balram doing their duty, right? They're supreme lords, both of them. They try to stop them. They try to stop them. What are you doing? Don't do this. You're killing each other. Stop. But they were so intoxicated that they attacked Krishna and Balram also. Okay, so they attacked Krishna and Balram, so then Krishna and Balram also joined the battle because this is part of the pastime. So they also joined the battle, and in that battle, it became so heavy that finally all of them were killed. All, not one person was left standing except Krishna and Balram. Only two people remaining, all of the others were killed. So now after this was over, now Balramji knows that this is the desire of the Lord, therefore this has happened. Without his desire, this cannot happen. Someone who is under the protection of Krishna, forget anyone else killing themselves, they killing themselves, each other is impossible. So Lord Balram knows that this is the end now of the Lord's pastimes. So Lord Balram, what he does is he meditates, he meditates and he also disappears. He leaves, just leaves from there. And then after that, what happens is, now all of them are gone. Koi nahi bacha wahan pe, right? Only Krishna is there. And all carnage everywhere, all dead, dead bodies of all the Yadus lying there. And Krishna then goes and sits under a peepal tree, right? So it is described that he took his left foot on his right thigh. ऐसा पैर ऐसे करके बैठे थे. And he was sitting there, resting under the peepal tree, and he assumed the four-arm form. Okay, he assumed a four-arm form, and then at that point of time, there was a hunter. Now, this, you remember, I said one was the powder which became cane, which became iron rods in the hand. With that, they killed each other, right? But there was one piece which didn't get powdered. That piece of metal was followed by a fish. That fish was found by a hunter called Jara. After he killed the fish, he cut the fish, he found that piece of iron in that fish. With that piece of iron, he made an arrow. Okay. And with that arrow, he saw Krishna's foot, which is reddish, right? We say Krishna's lotus feet. His foot is reddish. So he saw the reddish foot of Krishna, which is, ऐसे करके जो बैठे हैं, एक पांव के ऊपर एक पांव डाल के ऐसे बैठे हुए हैं. So he saw the left foot of Krishna, reddish left foot of Krishna, and somehow he felt that this is a deer from a distance. From a far away distance, he thought that this is a deer's face, and he shoots that particular arrow at the lotus feet of Krishna. So after he shoots the arrow, that it goes and pierces the foot of Krishna. Then he comes there, and then he realizes what is happening. He sees the four-armed form of Krishna there, and he is devastated. My God, what have I done? And he comes and lies down, dandavat karke, he begs forgiveness from the Lord, that my Lord, please forgive me, what have I done? Please forgive me, please forgive me. And Krishna tells him, no, don't worry. This has happened completely by my desire. It was my desire that this happened. So it is not your fault. Don't feel about it. And he immediately on the spot, Jara the hunter receives liberation. He is sent back to Godhead, goes back to Vaikuntha. So one of our acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, again explains that all this happened by the Lord's desire, by his internal potency. Otherwise, how could even the hunter expect to see a deer in a place where a bloody war has just taken place? जहाँ पे इतना घमासान युद्ध हुआ है, वहाँ पे a gentle animal like a deer you expect to find? It's not possible. But the deer was there. At least the hunter saw something and he shot. So everything happens there simply by the desire of the Lord. This is sufficient. So after, sorry, अभी winter में हम लोग का ऐसे ही होता है. AC on, AC off, AC on, AC off. Sorry about that. All right. So now after all this has happened, right? Balram has left. All these people have, been killed. Daruka is the charioteer of Krishna. He comes to that spot. Now you see, for any person, their driver is actually a very intimate person. Intimate रहता है. क्यों? क्योंकि वो ड्राइवर वो पर्सन का सब कॉन्वर्सेशन सुनता है. You know? तो उनका सब he knows the mood कि आज मालिक का मूड अच्छा नहीं है. आज मालकिन ने चिल्लाया लगता है सुबह सुबह. उस मालिक का मूड अच्छा नहीं है, right? He's so intimately connected with the driver. There is this joke, that once Albert Einstein, he used to go to city and he used to do seminars, big seminars. And his driver is to drive him to all these seminars. सब सेमिनार में ड्राइवर लेके जाता था. So ये जो ड्राइवर था, because he was going with Einstein everywhere, he would also get to hear all the lectures. वही लेक्चर बार तेरे रिलेटिव की वही सुन के at one point Einstein भी पक्के हैं. I can relate to this now because I have been doing training for the last 2 months and I also feel that कि यार वही चीज कितनी बार बोलेगा, right? It becomes boring. And my wife joins me. She also comes as a co-trainer. So I tell her यार एक तू ले लेना यार like that. So this Einstein also. And one particular seminar, he was very bored. He said, यार क्या कंटाला आ रहा है मेरे को ये नहीं बात करने का आज. तो ड्राइवर बोलता है मैं बोलूं क्या? तू बोलेगा? हाँ मैं आपका इतनी बार सुना है. So many times I've heard you speaking. Yeah, I can also do this. उसमें क्या बड़ी बात है? Einstein says, really? He said, yeah, really, try it out. So Einstein says, good. This is a city where nobody knows me anyway. यहाँ पे मेरे को किसी ने देखा नहीं है. खाली नाम सुना है Einstein. तो चलो यहाँ पे तुम दे दो. I'll sit in the audience, but you give the lecture. So then this driver goes very confidently and he starts speaking and पूरा lecture एकदम champion जैसा बात करते हैं, मस्त एकदम. And after he comes to this point where Krishna is sitting there after Jara has shot him. So he comes there and he sees that along with Krishna is not yet left, but Krishna's chariots, his horses, his weapons, they start leaving for the spiritual world. तो उनके सामने ये सब अप्रकट हो रहा है, एक करके these, all the paraphernalia of the Lord, they start disappearing. So then Krishna gives him the message that you go and tell the devotees who have stayed back in Dwarka. Now, why? Who stayed back in Dwarka? So, as I said, the devotees, the Dwarka Vasis, who were the incarnation of demigods, they were the ones who came to Prabhas and they killed each other and they all died, right? But there were still some people left in Dwarka. Who were they? They were the eternal associates of the Lord who have come down from the spiritual world along with him, right? So Vasudev, Devaki, these people, right? They are like the eternal associates of the Lord. So they are still there. So Krishna tells him that you go to Dwarka and tell them what has happened, and tells them that all of you now leave Dwarka. Don't be in Dwarka. आप लोग वहां से अभी निकल जाओ. Because the moment I leave this world, this Dwarka will sink into the ocean. The moment I leave, Dwarka will sink into the ocean. So you go and give the message and tell everyone to leave. And he tells them that Arjuna will take all the, the queens and all the Dwarka Vasis. He will take them to Indraprastha. He will take them to Indraprastha and he will keep them there. And they will, the Pandavas will take care. So abhi aap log niklo wahan se. So Daruka is in great pain. He's in tremendous pain of separation from the Lord because he's so close to Krishna. He has probably spent a long time with Krishna, right? So he's very close. He's in great pain, but he has to follow the instructions of the Lord. So he leaves from there. He goes back to Dwarka and he informs them what has happened. Then it is described that at that point when the Lord was about to leave, Lord Brahma comes to that place. It's described in the Bhagavatam. Brahma came, Shiva came, Indra came, many other devatas came there to witness the Lord's disappearance pastime. The Lord is going to leave. So it is described that when they came, Krishna closed his eyes. When they came, he closed his eyes. Till then he was talking to Daruka. Now imagine, वो arrow shoot किया है. अगर now people sometimes say that how Krishna left like this, like ordinary person. Not ordinary person. He's like shot by an arrow. He should have left immediately. उसके बाद कितना कुछ हुआ है. He has spoken to Daruka. He has, he has given instructions, and so many things have happened, right? Then they came. The Lord closed his eyes. So Sridhar Swami, one of the acharyas, he says, why did Krishna close his eyes? Because he wanted to avoid the obligation of visiting their planets. कि जाते जाते जरा हमारा ब्रह्मलोक में भी जाके आओ, थोड़ा कैलाश में भी होके आओ, थोड़ा स्वर्गलोक में भी जाके आओ, जाते जाते थोड़ा हमारे घर पे भी ड्रॉप इन करना, pay a visit to my place, right? So the Lord closed his eyes, and finally he entered into his own abode, goes back to his dham, Guru Vrindavan. And it is said that along with the Lord, truth, religion, faithfulness, glory, and beauty also immediately followed him. These qualities also went back with him. So Daruka then gives this message to Ugrasen and to Vasudev. He goes there, and Ugrasen and Vasudev are still there in Dwarka. He goes and gives them this message. And they are absolutely torn, right, by this separation. Now, see, interestingly, who Krishna allowed to get the news that Krishna has left and whom he didn't allow. So the Dwarkavasis, who were the powerful Yadus, who were, not the eternal associates of the Lord, if they had come to know that Krishna has left, in the pain of separation, they would have destroyed the whole world. So therefore, Krishna उनको होने नहीं दिया. उनके before Krishna left, उनको scene से हटा दिया. And then these persons, his parents and his wives, they were so tormented by what happened. Some of them left their body. His parents, Vasudev and Devaki, they left their body. They also went back to God, and on that spot, some of his wives, they climbed a funeral pyre. They also gave up their body. And Arjuna, he did the final rites for many of them. So in this way, the Lord ended his pastimes of the earth. And very painful. If you read the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, start of 12th canto, where this pastime of disappearance of the Lord is appeared. See, we all discuss the appearance day of the Lord. हर साल हम लोग जन्माष्टमी में appearance discuss करते हैं, उसमें बहुत मजा आता है, right? Even over here, when Uddhava started, first we started from the appearance of the Lord, how Lord appeared on this earth. We started from there, and that is very pleasurable to hear. But when the Lord leaves, it is very painful to hear. So for a devotee, so I'll end with this. In the morning also I spoke about this. I'm just repeating the same point over here. That for a devotee, a pure devotee, these persons like Ugrasen, Vasudev, Uddhava. Uddhava now he is remembering and he's recounting all this to whom? To Vidura. Right? He's recounting ki ye sab hua tha. All this had happened. And Maitreya was there when the Lord was speaking to me. Ye sab, he is telling Vidura. And as he is recounting, he's crying, he's in devastation, just remembering that the Lord is no longer there, right? So हम लोग जो है, जब हम लोग ये pastime सुनते हैं, that the Lord has left, हम लोग पे कोई असर नहीं होता. We don't feel anything, ना? We feel maybe he left. And when we read about, there's a whole section in the Bhagavatam which talks about the impact that the Lord leaving had on the devotees, on the pure devotees, how they were devastated by the Lord's disappearance. So, the morning also I was giving Bhagavatam class in the temple. That time, there was this section where Arjuna is lamenting that the Lord has left. You know, the 14th chapter, 15th chapter of first canto. We have gone through that in the past, you know, maybe a year back or a year and a half back. So when Arjuna is going through that separation of the Lord leaving and he's lamenting, Lord is gone, Lord is gone. So I was thinking about it कि ये हमें क्यों feeling नहीं आता? Why we don't feel any any separation from Lord? Or even when we read about these stories that the devotees are devastated by the Lord's leaving, हमको कुछ उसमें कुछ चमकता नहीं कि क्या इतना व्हाट्स द बिग डील राइट जो कि मर हमारे भी फैमिली में कोई मर गया तो हमको कुछ टाइम तक बुरा लगता है उसके बाद भी लाइफ गोज ऑन वी डोंट फील सो मच सो आई वाज ट्राइंग टू थिंक दैट व्हाई इज दिस सो ऐसा क्यों है कि ये डिवोटीज इतना ये लोग इससे प्रभावित हो जाते हैं व्हाई दे गेट सो अफेक्टेड the reason why we don't understand the sentiments of these pure devotees is because we have no love for the Lord. हमारे हृदय में भगवान के लिए प्रेम का एक बूंद भी नहीं है. We don't even have a drop of love for Krishna in our heart. We don't have. Right? We are trying to serve the Lord by chanting His holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. We try to chant, we try to serve the Vaishnavas, we offer them prasad, we do so many things, right? We worship deities, so many things we can do to serve the Lord. But love has still not come in our heart. Our heart is still empty. So because we don't have love for the Lord, we cannot appreciate the sentiments of these devotees who are in what is called this viraha bhav. Viraha means separation. So we feel it is not a big deal, but for the pure devotees, it is complete devastation when something like this happens, right? So, I was just trying to imagine that how do we relate to this separation? कैसे हम लोग इसको relate कर सकते हैं, right? So just imagine, right, that if you put all the money that you have, आपने जो इतने 15, 20, 25 साल के करियर में जितना भी पैसा कमाया, सपोज किसी ने आपको एक टिप दे दिया, सारा पैसा ना आप अडानी एनर्जी में डाल दो, मल्टी बैगर बनने वाला है. चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स विल अंडरस्टैंड दिस लैंग्वेज. मल्टी बैगर बहुत उसका अप्रिसिएशन होने वाला है. अपना घर का सारा पैसा बेच के इसमें डाल दो. Put all your money into this because it's going to expand. Now suppose you did it. आपने आपका एक एक पई जो है, एक एक पैसा जो है, एक एक रुपया आपका सब सोना होना सब बेच के आपने वो शेयर में डाला. एंड देन सडनली आपको पता चला कि वो कंपनी बंद हो गई. हाँ, या तो आपने सोचा कि यार हम तो सेफ खेलता है भाई, हमको शेयर वेयर नहीं, हम सब एक बैंक में डालेंगे. और किसी ने बताया कि पंजाब एंड महाराष्ट्र करके जो कोऑपरेटिव बैंक है, उनका एफडी का रेट इज हायर देन एवरीवन एल्स. तो सारा पैसा पंजाब महाराष्ट्र के एफडी में डाल दिया एंड पंजाब महाराष्ट्र कोऑपरेटिव बैंक डूब गया.
We have a person
who has gone through that.
Yes, yes.
Poor thing.
Whatever total money was in that bank, and he had for zero problem.
Exactly, right? So what will happen to us if we put every single rupee that we have into some fixed deposit और वो बैंक ही चला गया, डूब गया वो पैसा? क्या now we can understand, right? कि क्या होगा? क्यों? Why we are feeling so much pain? Because we have invested 100% of whatever we have in that. After that, if it goes away, कंगाल हो जाते हैं. अभी क्या करूं? I'm nothing. What to do, right? You become desperate. So in the same way, like that person who becomes desperate, morose, dejected, depressed, neurotic, whatever, right? Why? Because everything that they have invested is gone. Same way, the pure devotees are 100% invested in Krishna. उनका जीवन का एक एक every breath is for Krishna. They're fully invested in Krishna. Just मतलब उनको और कुछ पता ही नहीं. That's why they're called pure devotees, because they don't have any other aspiration. Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. There is no anya abhilasha at all. Shunyam. No jnana, no karma, nothing, everything, just Krishna prem, that's all. They're fully invested in it. And they are terribly attached to Krishna to the extent, to the point where nobody else or nothing else in the world means anything to them. Hey, matlab, they will do their activities in the world. They may have family, they may have job, they may have business, they may have so many things to do. Like the Pandavas, they're like very busy people apparently. But their heart is completely, fully, 100% invested in Krishna. So when you are 100% invested in Krishna and Krishna leaves, they are devastated because they suddenly start feeling like beggars. They feel like orphans. Ki Bhagwan chale gaye, right? So when we look at it from this point of view, that how much they are invested in Krishna, and therefore when Krishna leaves like this, it is so painful for them. They cannot tolerate it. It's just too much. So the goal of our human form of life, is to develop this same kind of consciousness. Prema pumartho mahan. Goal of human life is not dharma, artha, kama, moksha. That is called the what is that? Purushartha. What Purushartha? No. This dharma, artha, kama, moksha is called what Purushartha? कल हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे थे. What was that? Chatush. Whatever. The four important Purushartha, right? But there is a Pancham Purushartha. Pancham Purushartha, which is called Prema Pumartho Mahan. Prem, the love for Krishna. Love, unadulterated, uninterrupted love for Krishna. Right? That is the ultimate goal of life, right? So goal of our human life also has to be to gradually develop the same kind of investment in Krishna consciousness, right? Today, what is our investment? I was giving the example today morning that एक आदमी गया एक बैंक में. Any bankers here? Mataji, Sudha Mataji is not here. Yeah. So one person went to a bank और उसने 1000 रुपया का FD खोला वो बैंक, पंजाब महाराष्ट्र बैंक में 1000 रुपया का उसने FD खोला. एंड एक साल बाद उसको कॉल आया कि भाई साहब आपका FD मैच्योर हो गया, आप जरा आ जाओ. तो he goes to the bank. He says, हाँ बोल क्या मिला मेरे को? तो तुमको 70 रुपये इंटरेस्ट मिला. तो 70 रुपये से क्या होता है? मेरा रिक्शा का भाड़ा नहीं निकला 70 रुपये, क्या बात कर रहे हो? So that banker tells him, भाई साहब आपने डाला कितना? 1000 रुपया डाला. 1000 रुपया के हिसाब से 7% से आपको 70 रुपया ही निकलता है. आप डालो ना 1 करोड़. 1 करोड़ डालो तो आपको मिलेगा 7 लाख इंटरेस्ट, है कि नहीं? आप 1000 रुपए डाल रहे हो और आप कंप्लेन, क्या हमको तो कुछ मिला ही नहीं, क्या है ये? So in the same way, today in our Krishna consciousness, we should question ourselves. How much are we investing? How much are we investing in this process of Krishna consciousness? So the goal of human life is not to earn money. It is not to become CEO of some company. It is not to become the most famous person in HPCL and BPCL colony. Not to become the most famous dancer. Not to become the most famous singer in the colony or in India. Or to become the richest person. That is not the goal, human life. Goal of human life is to come to this point of Krishna consciousness, to the point of like Arjuna, like Uddhava, like the Brajvasis, like the Gopis, were completely 100% sold out to Krishna. They have no other thing. ऐसा नहीं कि उन्होंने अपना ड्यूटीज नहीं किया, ऑफ कोर्स किया, टिल द लास्ट मोमेंट द पांडवास डिड देयर ड्यूटीज, बट द मोमेंट कृष्णा लेफ्ट they also just immediately, ऐसा वो 36 years complete हो गया, कृष्णा left, they installed, their grandson, Parikshit Maharaj, they installed him on the throne and they left. Immediately they left. They didn't wait, right? So our goal of life also should be to ultimately come to this point. How we can come to this point of complete dependence, complete surrender to Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, what is Krishna saying? Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. He says that just abandon, छोड़ दो ये सब देश धर्म, क्षत्रिय धर्म, ये धर्म, वो धर्म, पति धर्म, सब छोड़ दो, leave it, forget it, and just surrender to me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will free you from all sinful reaction. Don't worry. कि ये धर्म नहीं करूंगा तो ये पाप लगेगा, वो धर्म करूंगा तो वो पाप लगेगा. Just work for me. Do what I am saying. Just surrender. So our goal of life is to come to that point of surrender. How? By increasing our investment in Krishna consciousness. How can we do that? We are chanting. If we are not chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. If we are not chanting Hare Krishna, then we start chanting Hare Krishna. We are chanting one round, start chanting 4. You are chanting 4, start chanting 8. You are chanting 8, start chanting 16. You are chanting 16, I am not saying chant 32, but at least chant those 16 rounds attentively. Make an effort. Try to take shelter of Hari Katha every day. Not that once in 15 days वो अपना वो रिमाइंडर आता है, 15 दिन में एक बार आने का इधर मजा आता है, एकदम मस्त, अच्छा कथा वथा सुन के जाते हैं, अच्छा लगता है. That is good, that is wonderful, but go beyond. Increase your investment so that you will get more dividend. And that dividend is what will keep us going in our lives. That is the purpose of life, to get this dividend of Krishna consciousness, not just to, earn money, very good, earn money. Earn position, very good. But use that money, use that position in the service of the Lord. So I'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudev ki, Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran ki, Shri Krishna Tirobhav Katha ki jai. Hare Krishna. So any questions or comments anybody has? We have a few minutes today. Miraculously, we have ended before time. Almost a miracle. But anyway, yeah. Any questions or comments, anybody?
How much was the actual age of Krishna? 36?
125. 125. Described as 125 years old. So actually, Brahma comes to meet, in the 12th canto is described that Brahma comes to meet Krishna. Right? I said, no, that Krishna closed his eyes. So Brahma and all, they come and they sing various prayers glorifying the Lord before he leaves. But he also tells Krishna that, my Lord, आप जिस हेतु से इस पृथ्वी पे आए थे वो हेतु अभी complete हो गया. So even Brahma is telling the Lord that you can wind up your pastimes if you wish, if you desire. So like that. So yes. And there he mentions that you have spent 125 autumns over here. That number is there in Bhagavatam. So that's how we understand. Any other questions? Yes. हाँ हाँ है. So the hunter, ये जरा कौन है? मतलब इवन भगवान को जो मारने का जो पास्टाइम है, जिसमें भाग लेता है, वो भी कोई स्पेशल पर्सन ही हो सकता है, cannot be an ordinary person. So it is described, the acharyas describe that this hunter was actually Bhrigu Muni. So in the Bhagavatam there is a pastime, again I think in 11th canto, if I'm not mistaken, वो जो Bhrigu का जो 11th canto में है ना, तो Bhrigu was one of the 7 sages, right? One of the 7 important sages. So Bhrigu and all these, great sages, they were having a debate of sorts that who is the greatest person, who has the greatest qualities amongst, the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. So ऐसा कोई एक टाइप का डिबेट चल रहा था. So they were thinking कि कैसे पता लगाए, how to find out. So then they chose Bhrigu. That Bhrigu, you go and do this, ये सेवा आपका है. बहुत गंदा सेवा दिया उसको बेचारे को, बट उसको ये सेवा दिया कि आप जाके फाइंड आउट करो. So Bhrigu is the son of Brahma, right? He is the son of Brahma. So he goes to meet Brahma first. And Lord Shiva also technically is the son of Brahma. Technically, only technically. Because he appeared from the body of Brahma, but he's not really son of Brahma. Right? Lord Shiva is Vishnu Tattva. So now, first he goes and meets Brahma. Now Brahma is his father. But when he goes and meets his father, you're supposed to pay obeisances. But he didn't pay obeisances. So just by his gesture, he showed disrespect to his father, to Brahma. And Brahma got angry. And he said, what is this? You don't know how to respect your own father. What is this? So he didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. He just didn't do something. And by that, Brahma got angry. So Bhrigu was thinking in his mind, "Itne choti baat pe angry ho gaye." No, not the greatest, right? Then he goes and meets Lord Shiva. He goes to meet Lord Shiva. So when he goes to meet Lord Shiva, when he sees Bhrigu Muni, he comes running towards him. He comes running towards Bhrigu Muni and tries to embrace him. He said, my brother, because like brother, no? They are brothers. My brother, you have come. He goes to embrace him. So Bhrigu Muni says, please, आप मेरे से थोड़ा दूर रहो. Your body is covered in all these ashes from a crematorium, and you are surrounded by all these ghosts and hobgoblins. Tamas में हो आप, मेरे पास मत आओ, please don't come. And Lord Shiva becomes very angry. So he's gone one stage further. First stage he didn't say anything, just by his gesture. Second, he speaks offensively, and Lord Shiva gets offended. Lord Shiva is very easily pleased and very easily offended also. Very easily gets. Lord Shiva gets very angry. But because brother है, छोड़ देते, कुछ बोलते नहीं, doesn't open his third eye or something like that. छोड़ देते. And then after that, third he goes to meet Lord Narayan, in Vaikuntha. And Lord Narayan is lying on Sheshnag. And Mother Lakshmi is, she is massaging his lotus feet. And that time Bhrigu comes into Vaikuntha and he sees Narayan. He just walks up to Narayan, doesn't say anything. Lord Narayan says, oh, Bhrigu, you have come here, so nice. And he doesn't say anything. He just goes and kicks Lord Narayan in the chest. Right? So you see the level of offense, right? First offense was not much, he just didn't respect him. Second, he spoke something. Third, he did something. And very offensive. लात मारा किसको? नारायण को लात मारा. मतलब guts हो तो क्या किस level का guts रहेगा, right? But he's given the seva, so he's doing the seva. He did the seva. So he kicked Lord Narayan in the chest. And what was Lord Narayan's reaction? Lord Narayan tells him, oh, Bhrigu Muni, my chest is like stone and your lotus feet are like butter. So by kicking me, I hope I have not hurt your foot. I deserve what you have done, but I hope I am not offended you, I am not hurt you in any way. So Bhrigu is fully bowled over. He says, Arey, this is the greatest person, this is the greatest personality, that despite such a severe offense, he is not offended, ulta he is concerned about me. So he is thinking like that. So ये pastime के दो असर हुए. एक तो श्रीमती लक्ष्मी देवी, she was watching this whole thing. अभी किसी औरत को अच्छा लगेगा क्या कि उसके पति को कोई आके लात मार के चला जाए? Which woman will accept? And now who is that woman? She is Lakshmi Devi. So she immediately cursed. Said all the brahmanas after this will all be poor. कोई ऐसा ब्राह्मण सब गरीब हो जाएंगे. Because I will not go to their house. I will not go to the house of brahmanas. सब गरीब हो जाएंगे. This is one repercussion. Second repercussion is, it is described that person, Bhrigu Muni, he became Jara the hunter. where he had already committed an offense, but a further offense was done where now he was born as a human being from a celestial rishi. He was born as a human being, as a hunter in the mode of ignorance, where he played this role of shooting the foot of Krishna. That is what is described by the Acharyas. Bhrigu Munika. He became Jara the hunter. But then after that, Krishna liberated him also, sent him back to Vaikuntha. That is the end of that pastime. Hare Krishna. Any other question? Yes, Prabhu.
This 36 years period was there.
Yes.
In this, any what are the special things happened in this? Giving a small brief.
So not too much details are given either in Mahabharata or in Bhagavatam. I don't know, you can correct if I'm wrong. Not too much details are given, but only thing that is mentioned is that Krishna got Yudhishthir to perform 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas. He performed 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas, and the Sanatan Dharma was established all over the planet. All the kings, all the monarchies all over the world, they came under the supreme dominion of Yudhishthir. And since Yudhishthir was Dharmaraj, Dharma got established all over the world. But after Krishna disappeared from this earth 36 years later, after that Kali Yuga made its entry. And Kali Yuga made its entry, as it said, along with Krishna, so many things went back. So what else happened in those 36 years? I'm not so aware. Mahabharata doesn't give much details, honestly. Or at least the version of Mahabharata that I have doesn't give much details. Remember, any ideas?
Last time, sir, there, Maharaj was doing the also payment, getting all the so he is marrying.
Yeah, Arjuna marries many wives. Wo hai story. Then each of the brothers, but that was during Rajasuya, no? Wasn't it during Rajasuya? That they go out and they conquer all the kings. After, is it? I don't know. So I am not aware. There's one nice story. There's one nice story which I'll tell. Which my father used to tell this story, so I remember this story. That once Yudhishthir Dharmaraj, he was holding his court, and every day Dharmaraj would give charity. Brahmanas would come to the palace, and every day Brahmanas would be given charity. So one day what happened was Sham ka vakt tha, and some charity varieties of ho gaya tha, and Yudhishthir was in some very intense discussion with some Brahmanas. Some discussion was going on, not Brahmanas, with his courtiers. So that time when Brahmana comes and says, Bhavati Bhiksham De, give Bhiksha, my lord, oh dear king, please give Bhiksha. So Yudhishthir tells him, oh Brahman Dev, I'm actually in the middle of something. So aap kal subah aa jao. Just come tomorrow morning, I will give you much more than you need also. I'll give you good charity. Please come tomorrow. Brahmana is very happy. अरे यार धर्मराज ने प्रॉमिस दिया मतलब कल तो एकदम मैं माला माल होने वाला. Very happy. He goes away. And when he goes away, Bhimsen is also watching this pastime. Bhimsen. Now Bhimsen is not known to be very philosophical, right? He's known to be just powerful. But Bhimsen is also philosophical. We can see in the Srimad Bhagavatam there are various places in Mahabharata where Bhima argues with Yudhishthir, on dharma. So Yudhishthir prevails, but he has discussion. So when this pastime happens, the Brahmana goes away, Bhima walks out of the palace and he goes to the city center, जहाँ पे वो नगाड़ा रखा रहता है ना, वो नगाड़ा दम 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 बजाने लगता है. वो नगाड़ा बजते हुए देख के सब लोग जमा हो जाते हैं. Right? That was the system that time. Announcement करना है कुछ, तो सारा पूरा देश सब लोग जमा हो गए वहाँ पे. And जब वो लोग वहाँ पे आए, so everyone said, what is it? What is it? He said, I have very good news for all of you. Bhima says, I have very good news for all of you. मतलब क्या good news? So even Yudhishthir भी आ गया वहाँ पे नगाड़ा बजा रहा है, king भी आता है. I have very good news for you. What is the good news? The good news is that my brother Yudhishthir, he has conquered death. He has conquered death. So some लोग ऐसा confused, conquered death? How he has conquered death? No, because he told that Brahmana, you come tomorrow, I will give charity. That means he knows for sure that he will give tomorrow. He will be alive till tomorrow, which means he has conquered it. So युधिष्ठिर ऐसा sheepish थे बोला ठीक है भेजो उसको ब्राह्मण को अभी लेके आओ अभी उसको मैं charity दे देता हूँ. So nice sweet story. This is from that period. But इसके अलावा मेरे को इतना कुछ मालूम नहीं. हरे कृष्णा.
Prabhuji,
We have read in earlier days that he has created the entire
History of human.
humans, and then some were available, but some have already been lost. Is
Yes.
it true?
It is true. It is true.
But
So
what happens?
it is. I also don't know. It is. See, I'm not saying it is 100% accurate. क्या है उसको पढ़ने के लिए भी कुछ लाइकी चाहिए. You know, like if I keep a journal of photochemistry in front of, maybe a commerce student, or photochemistry ka journal with latest, developments done in Royal Chemical Society of England, वो कॉमर्स स्टूडेंट को उसको क्या पल्ले पड़े कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आएगा उसको. Who needs to read it? Someone who is a chemist, मतलब chemistry student or a chemical engineer, he will understand. Others will not understand. Same way, Bhrigu Samhita, what he has put there is accurate. Astrology is an accurate science. We don't have accurate astrologers. That is the problem.
Understand or interpret?
Yeah. Understand and interpret. अभी देखो अगर कॉमन सेंस है ये बॉटल है ये अभी 2/3 खाली है. अभी किसी ने बोला आपको 2/3 खाली है, बट आपको देख के खटक से समझ जाता है this is approximately 1/3 is 1/3 और 2/3 खाली है. अभी ये देख के आपको तुरंत समझ गया बिकॉज यू नो आपने बहुत कुछ कैलकुलेशन किया अपने लाइफ में तो आपको मालूम है. बट कोई बच्चा इसको देखेगा उसको नहीं समझ में आएगा. अभी लड़का है वहां पे देख रहा है, he will see he can't make anything out of this. He can't interpret anything from this. But because we have knowledge, we can interpret. So if we have that knowledge, we can interpret.
That's important.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, yes.
May I ask?
1 minute. Ishwar Prabhu is asking a question. After that, we'll go. Yes, Ishwar Prabhu.
Prabhuji, thank you very much for the wonderful lecture. It is, in fact, is an extension of morning class by you. So beautiful it is. It is a repetition and it is a reinforcement for a devotee like me. I just wanted to express this observation that the pure devotees of the Lord, when they had interacted with him during his stay on this earth, when he left, they felt that separation. Because when you see that see Lord and they interact with him, if you're a pure devotee, you would definitely feel that separation, viraha bhav or vipralamba bhav. Now, we are not in touch. Of course, we are in touch with Lord through his scriptures and then through pure devotees and spiritual master. So that kind of a feeling, even if you're practicing the sadhaka, may not be coming so easily since you're not physically interacted.
So I didn't get that. Are you saying that because we are not physically in touch with the Lord, therefore we don't have that experience that those who are physically in touch with the Lord have? Is that your point?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
that is
That's
the
an
point.
interesting point. So Prabhuji is saying that I mean those who are directly in touch with Krishna, मतलब उनके संपर्क में थे, उनको तो ऐसा फीलिंग आएगा हमारा किधर संपर्क है डायरेक्टली कृष्णा के साथ. वैलिड क्वेश्चन. सो द पॉइंट इज दैट आल्सो इज अ ये ऑफ आवर फेथ. आवर आचार्यस हैव टोल्ड अस कली काले नाम रूपे कृष्ण अवतार अभिन्नत्व नाम नामिने. There is no difference between the name of the Lord and the Lord. The Lord has incarnated in his names. He has incarnated in Srimad Bhagavatam. He is incarnating in the deities. He is there present. So when we associate with the Lord through his holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. When we associate, if we associate with faith, then we are associating with Krishna. If we associate with the understanding that ये मतलब हाँ ठीक है बोला है devotee तुम्हें कर रहे हैं, then we will never experience Krishna. But if we chant with that faith, with that intensity, we will experience Krishna in the holy name. And then we will feel separation. Today, why we don't feel separation from our beads? हाँ मतलब सुबह जब उठते हैं बीड्स अगर हाथ में उठाते हैं जपा करते हैं 16 माला करते हैं उसके बाद रख दो उसको हो क्या आज का और नहीं सुना मेरे को कोई मत कोई आके बोले प्रभु जी आज एकादशी आज थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा एक्स्ट्रा नहीं हो क्या 16 माला सभी कल सुबह हमको नहीं चाहिए. We are at that stage. We are not taste. But if we were actually chanting attentively with love, with our full effort, investment, we are fully investing our time, effort in that chanting that we are doing, then dividend मिलेगा. What is the dividend? आपको बीड्स रखने को मन नहीं करेगा. रखा तो you will be looking forward कल सुबह कब आएगा जब वापस मैं 16 माला कर सकूं. You know, unfortunately we don't have that taste because we are not investing. Even when we are chanting, we are not attentive. But if we chant attentively, we put our full effort, then that same separation that the Pandavas were feeling, we will also feel. When we go to the temple, we go to Radha Gopinath Mandir, you take darshan of the Lord, and you don't feel like leaving the temple. घर जाने का ही मन नहीं करता, वहीं पे loiter करते रहते हैं, यार थोड़ा और time pass करते हैं, इधर ही बैठे रहते हैं. That is what we have to aspire for, right? Yes, Prabhu, you had a question or comment, I don't know.
Very that after the Kurukshetra, I have taken all the Pandavas. I think the question of only Dharmaraja and Bhima in terms of
Yeah.
why is that no mention of Arjuna?
No, it is there. He was also Mahabharata. It is also mentioned, but specifically Yudhishthira and Bhima को special mercy मिला from Gandhari. खास प्यार मोहब्बत उनको मिला. But the Nakula Sahadev Arjun were also there in that meeting. They were, no, nothing. At least it's not mentioned in the Mahabharata. Because Arjuna, see, of the 5 brothers, right? The 5 brothers, each of them represents something wonderful, right? So when the first son that Pandu asked from Kunti, he said, let that person be Dharmaraj, right? So that person should be embodiment of Dharma. That's why the first son was Yudhishthira. But then Pandu realized Dharma without Shakti, without power, doesn't stand a chance. So then he told her, you call Vayudev and let the power of Vayudev come in the second child. That's how Bhima was born. So he was embodiment of power. But even though you may have dharma and you have power, but just brute strength without skill is nothing. So that's why third son was Arjuna, who is embodiment of all skill. He was a very super skilled person. So like that. So Arjuna is one of the loved characters in the whole thing. Everyone is just admire him for his qualities. Though he was such a skilled person, he was extremely humble. Extremely humble. Yudhishthira and Arjuna. And of course, Nakula and Sahadev also. Nakula was embodiment of all beauty. Sahadev was embodiment of all, sanshilta, of, tolerance and patience. Like that. I don't know if that answers your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I?
Yes.
Can I, Prabhuji?
Yes,
This is Sudha here.
Out of time, but yes, one last quick one.
Okay. Prabhuji, is there any mention of how the goddess of fortune left her body? I mean, went back to the
Rukmini.
abode? Yes,
Rukmini.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
It is not specifically mentioned that how Rukmini left. Okay, it is not, her name is not mentioned. But so Mataji's question was, is it mentioned how Rukmini left? Right? So it is not specifically mentioned how Rukmini left, but the understanding is, it is mentioned somewhere that some queens, they just entered the funeral pyre along with the parents of Krishna. They also entered the funeral pyre and gave up their body. So it is mentioned something like that, but specifically Rukmini is not mentioned, Mataji, best of my knowledge. I don't know if anyone else.
Okay, Prabhuji, could it be possible that she stayed back in Dwarka and was consumed by the waters because the idol which she worshipped, Krishna's idol which she worshipped, got washed down and it was found in Guruvayur. That's what they say. And the deity which is being worshipped in Guruvayur is the deity which was originally worshipped by Rukmini Devi. Is there any truth in this, Prabhuji?
I am not aware, Mataji. Could be. I am not aware. Guruvayur ka, what is the origins? I am not aware. I know that it is a deity of Krishna, but whether it came from Rukmini, I am not aware. But
Thank you,
nice,
Prabhuji. Hare
interesting.
Krishna.
Mataji just said that is it possible that Rukmini, she stayed back, and like Krishna had said, right, Dwarka will be swallowed by the sea the moment I leave. And that's what happened, right? Dwarka is now underwater, right? The scientists have found it underwater. So, Mataji is saying that is it possible that she was also consumed by the sea because she didn't leave? She stayed there, and the deity which she was worshipping, that deity was washed away, and that was found in South India in Guruvayur. That is what Mataji is saying. Could be interesting story, but I don't know. I'm not aware. All right, we'll end here. It is already 8:45. Yes.
Krishna is told Dhruv and Vayu to Vishal Kerala.
Okay.
So Lord Shiva came and told to Vishal Vayu statue there.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that
That is the story.
directed.
Okay.
The statue which is worshipped by him only,
Yeah.
Lord Krishna, he got it installed by his Krishna supply.
Okay. Maybe. I am not aware. This is
Bengal state in Kerala.
okay.
Used to go.
Okay. I have been to Guruvayur twice, but I have not heard this. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanand ki Hare Hare. Just to give them for 5 minutes. 5 minutes because it is late today. It's already 47. तब तक प्रसाद का कोई arrangement करके रखो ताकि फटाफट people can have prasad. 5 minutes will do. Okay. Hare Krishna.